Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a wellness checking episode of The Gold Standard with Alan Mosley. And here's your host, Alan Mosley.
Guys, welcome back for another episode of The Gold Standard with Alan Mosley. What number is this?
I don't know.
Do you remember?
I told you before, I've lost count like 50 episodes ago.
It's 81 or 82.
Wow.
So
hey, we're doing pretty good.
I think it's 82 because I think
years
81 was China.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, you can answer that question for yourself if you just follow us on social media,
right.
which is at facebook.com/TGS Alan Mosley, which is also where the new episodes debut on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock. I'm going to be honest, sometimes Thursday nights at 8 o'clock.
Come on.
But we shoot for Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock.
Yes, we shoot for Wednesday.
If it's not on Wednesday at 8 o'clock, it's because Blake didn't get it done. That's what it is.
Don't blame it on me.
No, I'm just kidding. It's because I didn't upload it or stream it or whatever. Okay. Twitter is at Alan and Mosley, and actually I want to show this really quick. If you're wondering, I'm not following Alan and Mosley on Twitter. I wonder if I should. Let me show you the type of stuff you miss.
Okay.
If you don't follow me on Twitter. All right, you ready?
Yep.
So this is a grown-ass man right here who was talking about the Democratic debates last night, and he says, quote, "I'm literally leaving the room every time Tulsi Gabbard speaks because she scares me, and I'm being dead serious."
Wow.
So, of course, I find that, and I say, this has to be the gayest thing I've read tonight.
Oh.
That's,
Jeez,
imagine
man.
being a grown-ass man.
Afraid of Tulsi.
Afraid of a politician at all on that stage, but of Tulsi, like the one of them who's not advocating like conquering the world.
Yeah, she's like the least violent one,
Yeah, that's the one that he's afraid of.
Yeah.
Jeez.
There's a lot going on there.
I can't even talk to this guy, so I'm going to close the window.
Yeah, good job.
So that's Twitter, and you don't have to do any of that. You just go to our website, which is thegoldstandardpodcast.com.
That's right.
Consider becoming a member of our Patreon to support the show, which is patreon.com/TGS Alan Mosley.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to talk about the Democratic debates from last night because, I mean, there's really just... It's just a dog and pony show. Yeah, there's nothing to it.
Yeah.
But I can't help but wonder. I made a comment to a few people last night that if you had asked me, I don't know, maybe like 5 years ago, if I was worried or thought that there was a lot to the whole like social media engineering thing of them, propping up certain opinions and throwing down others, I wouldn't have said that I didn't believe you.
Okay.
But I would have said, it's not that big a deal. Like, at the end of the day, if 1 million people are liking one thing and 5 people are liking another, like that'll win out. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, last night I was on Twitter just kind of trolling around, getting some stuff ready for the show tonight. Mostly, I'll be honest, mostly just screenshotting my vulgar comment.
Of course.
And and Tulsi was trending. Tulsi was trending on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I noticed 2 different things that kind of don't line up.
And what's that?
So one was, if you look at Google's analytics, Tulsi's, like the people Googling Tulsi Gabbard or Tulsi or whatever was really high. Sure. Which that's pretty typical when you have a candidate that sticks out from the mainstream thought. Yeah. And she is mainstream on a lot of things domestically, but on foreign policy, she does not line up with her friends in the Democratic Party.
Right.
And so there's all these Google searches for Tulsi, way more than other candidates, like especially spiking when she's speaking, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty normal.
Yeah.
But then if you go on Twitter, you see that she's trending. You click on that, and it just shows a whole bunch of tweets by random high-traffic folks.
Sure.
It's just nothing but page after page after page of hate tweets directed at her.
See,
just
wrong.
All the typical, she's a Russian asset, she doesn't care about the Kurds, she wants them to die, America's gonna lose its global power if she was the president. She has friends in Hamas. She has far right wing interests and all this stuff. Like, just the stupidest propaganda crap that, I mean, anyone with an IQ above room temperature knows is not true. But it's just, the point being is that these, like, people don't Google something because they're looking for a sick burn.
Yeah.
If somebody already has decided in their head that they hate someone, they don't go Googling them looking for more information. They just don't.
Yeah.
That's just...
Yeah.
I mean, people are just not like that.
No.
They're only Googling things that they genuinely want to know more about, not for negative reasons more often than not.
Right.
So for her to be the topic of interest on Google, but then to have nothing but just page after page of hate on Twitter would seem to suggest to me that all that Twitter algorithm is purposely propping up the anti-Tulsi tweets, right?
Yeah.
I just... Like I said, if you had asked me before, even during the Ron Paul days, like I knew they were going to shaft Ron Paul. Anyone with half a brain knew that. But I still felt like, well, but you know, if 20 million people are Googling Ron Paul, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And if, you know, Twitter or whatever is promoting a tweet that says, you know, Ron Paul hates black people or something stupid, then at the end of the day, that could be safely ignored because the good outweighs the bad.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, I'm being dead serious. I probably went through like 7 or 8 pages of tweets before I found one that was even just modestly neutral on Tulsi. And I'm like, look, I know for a fact that there's not that many people who, A, are even educated enough to care one way or the other, let's just be honest. Or B, genuinely hate her and think she's actually the worst candidate. If you've seen the people on that stage, I got to tell you, there's a few worse candidates than Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
By few, I mean all but her.
I mean, unless you totally believe in what they're saying, and if you do, you're a monster.
Well, I mean, that's just the, so, I mean, I had made the point of saying that, like, at the end of the day, all of these quote-unquote mainstream Democrats are neocons. They're promoting neocon foreign policy.
Yeah.
That it blows my mind. But still, I just wanted to mention that I very rarely ever look, but I just happened on a lark to look, and I got to tell you, I feel high 90% chance that stuff is rigged.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, high 90%.
But hey, you feel better. You talked about it now, right?
Do I though?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't
it's
think
depressing.
I do. Yeah.
Let's get past this depression.
So anyway, I want to talk about the status quo, which you can find at thestatusquo.net. Our friends Nick and Matt over at the Status Quo, episode 48, McCurds.
McCurds.
That is, so I kind of skipped over that one. I didn't really want to talk about like Trump and troop withdrawal and all that because they're just like they're withdrawing 50 troops and sending 5,000 to Saudi Arabia or something ridiculous. So it's all BS.
Yeah.
But what Matt's really talking about here is that you see all these what he calls them crocodile tears in the mainstream media about worrying about the Kurds and how they're going to be handled and treated if we pull out, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
That's BS. None of these people care.
Right.
None of these people care about the Kurds. None of these people care about a future Kurdistan. No, nobody cares. Yeah. It's just political ploy. It just goes to show you that entire groups of people and their life and death is really nothing more than political pawns to these people.
It's true.
Yeah, and furthermore, kind of the same thing I said about the Tulsi thing. I would be willing to venture again not only high 90% that they rigged social media. I would say high 90% people have any clue who the Kurds are, who they're fighting, what Turkey's about, what interests does Turkey have, what interests do the Kurds have, what interests does Syria have, or Bashar al-Assad. High 90% people have no idea.
Yeah, or care.
But a lot of people comment on it.
Yeah.
But high 90% they have no idea what they're talking about.
Right.
So that's kind of what Matt's going into. So that's episode 48, McCurds. You can find them at thestatusquo.net.
Yep.
One last thing I wanted to show before we go to the commercial break. So you remember last week we did our China.
Yeah.
And we talked about Blizzard Entertainment and their whole kowtowing to Chinese interests. And then we talked about the GM of the Houston Rockets, Daryl Morey, and the tweet that he had made. I think he hasn't been fired yet. I'm actually pretty surprised, to be honest with you. So some NBA players have stepped up. Now, I know what you're thinking. Thank goodness, because it's the play. Remember the players that were taking. This isn't a joke. Stop.
Okay.
You remember when the players were taking a knee during the anthem to protest police brutality?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
So obviously the athletes are in tune with culture. and they understand that there are problems that people are facing, and they're willing to take a stand for injustice and use their platform to bring awareness.
Okay.
That's great.
Okay, yeah.
So you would think then,
Yeah.
because like pretty much the height of injustice is the totalitarian regime of China. That's I mean, what injustices there are in America, and there are.
Yes, there are.
I mean, if you've ever listened to me on the show, I've never once cast light on that at all.
Oh, no,
I'm sure.
No.
But they pale in comparison to the horrors of China. Absolutely. So you would think that NBA players would applaud the tweet by Daryl Morey. Unfortunately, not so. So LeBron James had commented on this. First of all, a number of players had met with Adam Silver, who was a commissioner of the NBA.
Right.
And they basically, their feeling was that they felt like they were put in an awkward position because reporters in China were asking them questions when they were out there playing preseason games and stuff, and that put them in an awkward spot. So basically, they weren't mad at all about, the horrors of China. They were mad that it made them feel uncomfortable. They had to answer questions. And then LeBron James went so far as to say that the comments by GM Morey were, quote, uneducated and misinformed. I miss being able to swear on this program because I can't know all the words that are coming to my head. Suzanne Sherman of the Wasatch Report. Look how hard I'm working for you guys.
I got to get me a bleep button just so you can.
We got to
hold the button down while you're going off. Just so people know.
We got to do something.
We got a bleep button.
Yeah.
We got to get a bleep
button. So, but just what a piece of crap.
Yeah. That's dirt.
Yeah, I mean, talk about just totally misreading the room. That is putting it lightly. So anyway, with that in mind, here's a meme from the other 3%. I just want to say really quick, if you're listening to this program and you're not watching the video version, you can find the video on facebook.com/TGS Alan Mosley and on our YouTube page. Just search The Gold Standard with Alan Mosley. You need to be watching the show to really appreciate that. Just understand that it involves LeBron James and Winnie the Pooh and some money. That's all you need to know. On that note, I think we needed to. On that note, right there, I think we need to take a commercial break. Hey, did you see the playoff games last weekend?
Oh, you're into the sports ball game.
Sports Ball with Mike Meharry and Alan Mosley. SportsBallPodcast.com.
Sports ball is not a libertarian sports show. It's a sports show done by a couple of libertarians.
For when you need your bread and circuses. Your ad could be playing right now, reaching thousands of potential customers. Sadly, it's not, but it could be. Find out how to be an advertised sponsor for The Gold Standard with Alan Mosley. Email us at tgsalanmosley@gmail.com. So, it's time for us to actually get to the actual topic of today.
Okay.
And I want to start off right off the bat by saying I'm in no way suicidal.
Okay.
I am not suffering in any way. There's no threat of any self-harm.
Okay.
If you happen to see me on the street or happen to drive by the house, and you see the door open, the absolute last thing you need to do is call the police for a wellness check. In fact, the last thing you need to do in practically any situation is call the police. Do not call the police. Do not call the police. Do not call the police. Don't call the cops. Never do it.
Okay.
This isn't the first time this has happened, but we're going to go over it anyway.
Okay.
So, right off the bat, Atatiana Jefferson, 28-year-old woman, lived in Fort Worth, Texas.
Yeah.
She was killed by a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
She was killed by a police officer. It's something like 2:30 in the morning. She's killed by a police officer at 2:30 in the morning in her own house.
Yeah.
She was killed by a police officer at 2:30 in the morning in her own house, having not commit any crimes. with there not even being anything going on.
Wow.
Turns out she was playing video games. Her 8-year-old nephew was over. She didn't. I don't believe she had any kids, but her nephew was over.
Okay.
And they're playing video games.
Yeah.
Because I mean, talk about the height of thuggery.
Oh yeah.
These single ladies staying at home playing video games
with an 8-year-old. Wow, that's
gotta watch. Yeah,
horrible.
Gotta watch out for those.
Oh yeah.
So, Atatiana Jefferson is killed by a police officer, and we're actually going to do something different that we've never done here on the show before.
Okay.
We have the body cam footage.
Ooh.
Now,
Yeesh.
I've been one to say that, they made some, remember, it's been some years now. Remember when they made a big deal about body cam footage? Like that was going to somehow fix all these problems. Well, when the police have to wear body cam footage, and there's going to be more accountability.
Right.
I can't say that that's the case.
Yeah, I don't think that's really changed much in these cases.
I can't say that that's the case. Now, it may make a big difference in this particular case.
It might make a difference in court.
I mean, how many stories have we heard of, there was a malfunction, footage is missing, camera doesn't work.
Right.
Or that we see the body cam footage and we're all appalled by it and then nothing happens anyway.
Right.
Because it's just one technicality or another.
Yeah.
So, again, for people that are not watching the show, you'll maybe hear a little bit of this, but you won't see
Probably
it.
won't hear any of it. You'll just see it.
But for people that are watching the show, you're not going to see anything too terribly horrendous because it's kind of hard to make out what's going on down range of the officer.
Yeah.
But if this is something you don't want to see, you might want to skip like the next 30 seconds or so, or we'll say 2 minutes of the show. Right. So I'm gonna pull this up here.
Make sure your laptop speakers are good and loud so the mic picks you up.
You're good and loud.
Yeah, I am good and loud.
Actually, I'm going to pause that right there. So it says, call details, 2:25 a.m., open structure at 1203 East Allen Street.
Means the door's open.
So a neighbor called the cops because her door was open.
What if your air conditioner's bad or something?
If you are a neighbor and you call the cops on one of your neighbors for basically any reason other than your neighbor is literally trying to kill you, you're just human to filth.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want you as a neighbor.
That's right.
So, front doors open.
Both
of neighbors' vehicles are in driveway. 225 units dispatched.
Right.
They say that neighbors are usually home but never have the door open. So that, I guess, would be the comments from the neighbor.
How weird.
So roughly 3 minutes later, the first unit is on the scene. Another minute or so after that, the second unit is on the scene.
Okay.
So let's watch.
Hit play. So you got your body cam footage of the door here. Dude's kind of looking around. Right, driveway. Looking down the side of the driveway, see the cars in the driveway. Cop's looking in the side door. Doesn't really see anything, just doors open, lights are on. It's a mess. That's interesting. Look at him just kind of sneaking around in the dark out there.
Yeah, so he's skulking around the outside of the house.
If I was in the house, I'd think somebody's sneaking around my house.
It's also worthy of mention, too, that he's skulking around the house. He's got a flashlight in one hand, and he's got a gun in the other hand.
Yeah.
Not his hand on his sidearm.
He literally has the gun drawn with a flashlight in one hand and a gun in the other.
All right.
And they're still looking around. Flashlights flashing on the garage door floor here. Kind of around back by the back gate. He's looking at the gate, opening the gate. Holding a flashlight. The police officers hold those flashlights like a baton. Let's see, walking around, air conditioner, looks in the back window. Put your hands up, show me your hands, shoots the gun. That's it.
I also want to point out, too, they've been, I paused the video right there.
Yeah, I know. Look at
They
that.
made all of this fuss about having found a weapon in the house. Okay, so first of all, she wasn't holding the weapon.
No, it looks like it's sitting on a nightstand or something.
Hold on. She wasn't holding the weapon. she wasn't pointing the weapon at the officer.
Right.
The fact that there was a weapon in the house is completely irrelevant to the story.
Right.
But that was the very first thing the media led off with when the story broke that there was a shooting.
Oh, no, there was a gun in the house.
They wanted to make sure to impress upon people in the very beginning of the story, well, there was a gun involved. Because obviously, if I tell you that and tell you nothing else, in your mind you're thinking, oh, they had the gun and maybe they were told to lower it or, whatever.
That could have been a video game controller for all I saw.
So, yeah. So it's... And that's the end of the video right there.
All right, let me just say something real quick. I'm going to say something real quick. If I'm sitting in my house at 2 o'clock in the morning in the pitch black darkness playing video games, playing Call of Duty or something, I'm already hyped up, and some dude is sneaking around outside of my house with a flashlight, I'm liable to shoot him first. That's all I'm saying. So maybe it's not a good idea to do these wellness check things.
So I'm going to read a little bit of this. So this is from NBC in Dallas, Fort Worth, by Diana Zaga. They released the body cam footage that we just watched. The victim was 28-year-old Atatiana Jefferson, who was at home with her 8-year-old nephew. Of course, we just watched what happened right there. But yeah, so a really quick recap of kind of what we saw there.
Yeah.
The cops get the call for a wellness check.
Yeah.
They kind of look around the perimeter.
Right.
They see that they can look into the house. Like,
yeah.
They can look through the door.
Yeah.
They don't knock on the door.
Yeah. And she's supposed to knock, hey, is everybody okay in there?
They don't knock on the door or ring the doorbell. So obviously they're in Rambo mode, right?
Yeah.
Like they're in tactical mode
they're
where
anticipating a war.
They're assuming that there's something going on inside the property. They're guns drawn, they're ready to freaking go.
Yeah.
So that's my first problem.
Right.
So the second problem is that and I don't want to make this whole episode about replaying that video. It's easy to find if you want to find it.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
He said something along the lines of, stop, put your hands up, bang, pulled the trigger.
There wasn't even enough time to think.
I would say the entire process, like the entire, you can see the timer on the video. The entire length of time from when he said stop to when he shot the woman
was less than 3 seconds.
Yeah, I was going to say 2. So 2 to 3 seconds.
Yeah.
2 to 3 seconds. I'd say that's pretty fair. So again, let's just play devil's advocate here. Let's say that was an intruder and not a Atatiana Jefferson in her own home.
Sure.
Why even bother yelling stop and show me your hands if you're literally going to pull the trigger on your gun the millisecond the last syllable comes off your tongue?
Right.
Might as well just gun them down and be done with it. Like, why'd you even bark a command?
Right.
Now, speaking of barking commands, there's one very specific thing you'll notice was missing there. They never identified themselves as police.
Jeez.
Now, of course, you know me. I have such low regard for the police. I don't really care who they're identified as. But it just, but to the point that you're using yourself as an example. So if you're at home playing video games, you've got kids.
Yeah.
And y'all play video games, right?
All the time.
So you're at home playing video games. It's dark outside. You know, we're getting to the time of year it's darker sooner, you know.
Dark earlier, yeah.
So it's dark outside. And, you know, you're kind of zoned in on the game, so maybe you don't notice that there's a little, like a flashlight walking around the backyard, you know? And all of a sudden, a light flashes through your window, and a voice yells, and it's probably muffled, by the way, because it's outside the window.
You can't really hear him through the window.
Yeah, I mean, you're Blake Osborne of Osborne Studio and Sound, so you probably got everything soundproofed and whatever.
Well, don't go that far. But.
So you just hear... Bang.
Yeah.
That's
you
it.
You didn't even have a chance to think. And all you saw was a bright light in the window and then a bullet in your head. How was that?
And that, yeah. And so not only is that what you probably heard, that's as quick as it happened.
Yeah.
That's as quick as it happened.
Yeah.
And at that point, like, anyone else, like, I know there's more people in your house, but she was just there alone with her 8-year-old nephew. But imagine, say there was 5 or 10 people in the house. At that moment, the other people in the house, I mean, there's still no way for them to know that it's cops. They just think it's a freaking drive-by. They just think it's gangbangers outside shooting through the windows.
Yeah.
It's a home invasion.
Yeah.
Go grab your weapons. I mean, how would they know?
Here's the worst part. The dang door was open. Why didn't they just walk in the door?
Well, they shouldn't be walking in the door because it's private property.
Well, I get that.
At the very least, they could have.
Yeah. Hey, excuse me, is everyone okay in here? But the door was wide open. They could have just gone, "Hey, are you guys in there?"
So, I wanna talk a little bit about Atatiana Jefferson herself before we get too far into this.
Yeah.
Who was Atatiana Jefferson? Woman killed by Fort Worth police officer in her home. 28-year-old woman lived in a Fort Worth home to take care of her grandparent, friends and family said. Fatally shot early Saturday inside a bedroom of a Fort Worth home by a police officer responding to a request for a welfare check at the house. Another quick reminder, never call the police. Officers responded to what they called an open structure call around 2:25 a.m. at her address. Officer, who has not been publicly identified, we'll get to that in a second, was walking around the outside of the house, had walked into the backyard. We saw that.
Yeah.
When he shot once through a window of the house. I guess we should be grateful he didn't unload. You know how they do. They just unload the whole mag. And we have the body cam footage. Just before firing his gun, the officer yelled, "Put your hands up, show me your hands." But of course, to say just before firing his gun really doesn't quite put emphasis enough on the fact that from the time that the s ended on hands, he pulled the trigger.
He pulled the trigger.
She died at the scene.
Yeah.
She had been playing video games with her 8-year-old nephew moments before she was killed.
Nice.
Civil rights attorney Lee Merritt said Monday that Jefferson was looking out the window to see who was lurking in the backyard. She told her nephew Zion to stand back. His auntie Tay did not allow him to check the window. I asked myself what would have happened if that little boy had checked the window instead of his auntie.
Yeah.
Well, he would have been
shot in the head.
He would have been told to show his hands, and then he would have been shot. That's exactly what would have happened.
Yeah.
Jefferson's family said she had moved into the Fort Worth home to help take care of her ailing mother. Her older sister, Ashley Carr, said Jefferson had honor, integrity, and commitment.
Yeah.
The woman was dedicated to her family and helped care for her nephew after the boy's mother underwent surgery. Quote, "My sister, the relationship she has with my sons is indescribable," Amber Carr said Monday. "Sometimes people think they're her kids and not mine."
Wow.
She worked in human resources. She graduated in 2014 from Xavier University in Louisiana, bachelor's degree in biology.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, there was a GoFundMe that was created by Merritt on Sunday to help cover funeral costs. They wanted a goal of $75,000. It's already over $120,000. I'm actually going to click on that really quick.
Yeah, it should
look at that. It's almost to $250,000.
Absolutely.
Almost to $250,000. Wow, there you go.
At the very least.
People are very generous.
And they should be.
Yeah, people are very generous. So.
You know what makes it worse?
What makes it worse?
You're not a father.
That makes it worse?
I want you to understand something.
That makes it great for me.
Let me explain it to you. I could not imagine what would be going through the mind of my 8-year-old son if somebody came to the window and blew me away with him standing right in front of me. I don't care if it's a cop. I don't care if it's a thug. I don't care what it is. But the whole world needs to be out there and looking after that boy because it's over. I mean, that kid's never going to be able to look the world straight in the eye ever again.
Well,
it's horrible. I mean, we were sad for the woman who lost her life. Absolutely sad for that and that poor family. But that boy, for God's sake, he was just playing video games with his aunt, man.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I tell you what I would be thinking if I was that little boy and saw that.
Yeah.
I would be thinking revenge. I mean, I'd be thinking, I got to get that person.
Unfortunately, that does change the lives of good people to bad, man.
So the last two articles that I showed had talked about how the officer hadn't been identified. Well, the officer has been identified.
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily say this is good news, but it is news.
Uh-huh.
Fort Worth police officer who killed Atatiana Jefferson arrested on murder charge. Mayor Betsy Price says nothing can justify the death of Atatiana Jefferson, who was killed inside her home by a police officer Saturday. Aaron Dean, who was the officer who shot Atatiana Jefferson, was arrested on a murder charge Monday. His bail was set at $200,000. He's no longer there, so apparently he got bonded out.
Yeah.
So there he is. I only want to show him for just a split second, then we're going to move on because I really don't care who he is and what he looks like. He's a POS. So hopefully his days are numbered.
Yeah.
So the attorney had said, quote, "It's a start, but accountability in Fort Worth is the long game." Krause said during a news conference Monday that he planned to terminate Dean, who was hired in April 2018, but the officer resigned before their planned meeting. I think that they probably already had internal affairs, talk to him and say, "Hey, man, you're in trouble, buddy." I mean, again, the body cam footage is pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard for me to see a way that he gets off for this one.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like a violation of every type of police procedure there is.
It seems pretty hard that he would get off on this one. So anyway, we don't know. We'll have to wait and see
what happens.
We'll have to wait and see what happens, but he has been arrested. He has been charged. A lot of people that wind up in situations like, the old joke that goes around that, they're going to get like a 2-month vacation with pay while the police investigate themselves and find that there's no wrongdoing. I actually feel pretty sure that he's going to go down hard for this one.
Oh, I believe it.
He's going to be the one that's the sacrifice, right? That they'll be able to look back and say, well, look, the rules apply to us as well. But they're only doing that, of course, because they can't figure out a way to wiggle him out of this one.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think that he will. But there was a couple of things that I wanted to read really quick.
Okay.
No, don't show.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. They're from a couple of posts on Facebook that I thought were pretty poignant that I wanted people to see. Imagine you're in your home in the middle of the night after playing video games with your nephew.
Yeah.
It's a nice night, and you leave the front door open for air.
Right.
You had just mentioned that, by the way.
Yeah.
He said, it's Texas.
It's a nice night,
yeah. You think you hear someone in your yard, so you go to the window and look, and a voice in the darkness yells, "Put your hands in the air." Seconds, literal seconds later.
If that.
Yeah, when I say seconds, we're talking 2.
If that.
If that. While you're still scared and confused by this command, which has come from an unknown voice,
right,
you are shot.
Yeah.
Empty-handed, not far from your nephew.
Not to mention the fact that you're blinded by a flashlight at the same time.
The police officer, who you did not live long enough to know was a police officer, will continue filming, getting evidence that you had a gun, not with you, of course, in your bedroom, which is perfectly legal, to defend yourself from intruders.
Right.
This gun, not on you when you died and unrelated to your death, will become part of the news stories to help distract from the fact that you died on a nice night in your own home for nothing at all. But that's not you. That's Atatiana Jefferson. She's 28 years old.
Yeah.
So that's not a fairy tale. That's a real.
Yeah.
That's a real story. If I can, here it is right here. Or no, that's the one that I just read. There was one other. Here it is right here.
You want me to put that up?
Yeah, you can pull this one up.
Okay.
So there's a Tatiana and her nephew, a picture right there.
Goodness gracious.
On the left is a Tatiana Jefferson. She was shot through the window in her own home by a cop. Fast facts. The screen door was closed, but the solid door was open. A neighbor saw it and called police for a welfare check.
Oh, no. What do you
do? Never call the police. Based on footage from the body cam, the cop did not announce himself at the door. We know that to be true.
Right.
Even if he had, there should have no obligation to respond or obey any orders from inside the home when no illegal activity is going on.
That's right.
The cop opens the gate and goes into the backyard. Tatiana was playing video games and hears something outside and goes to the window to check. The cop shouts, "Hands up," and then shoots her through the window. Of course, they're talking about the gun being inside. This is irrelevant.
Exactly.
To any person in their home, the cop was a trespasser / suspicious person who was possibly an intruder.
Right.
No amount of spin can justify this.
Right.
Officer or not, shooting a person in their own home when they have done nothing wrong and were not a threat is murder.
That's right.
So, anyway.
Any questions?
Yeah, like I said, I think he's going down for this one.
Pretty much.
This is one of those that I feel pretty confident justice will probably be served.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, she's still dead.
Yeah, she's still dead.
I don't know if like I've reached a new level of my cynicism lately. I don't know if that's what it is, but it's just like
no. I mean,
it's not that I don't care about the outcome.
Yeah.
But I care less than I used to because whether he gets off on some technicality, and I don't think he will.
Yeah.
Or whether they throw the book at him and he gets life in prison.
Right.
She's still going to be dead the next day.
None's going to bring her back.
Yeah. So.
None's going to save that little boy from that image for the rest of his life burned into his brain.
No, definitely not.
I mean, it's just stupid.
So
absolutely stupid.
I want to conclude on this before we go to our last commercial break. And it's really important, as I've already said several times, do not call the police. Do not call the police. If you had any love or concern for your neighbor at all, you know what you do?
You go check on him
Go
yourself.
check on your neighbor.
You lazy bum.
If you are concerned about your neighbor, go check on your neighbor.
So really, the person who called the cops in the first place shares accountability.
Absolutely.
In my book.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're concerned about your neighbor, go check on your neighbor.
That's right.
That's number one. Number two, don't call the cops.
Yeah.
And number three, I don't care if she was standing in her house pointing a frickin' 50 cal at the window at the cops. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care if she was screaming, "Die pig," and waving a firearm at him. I don't care. That's totally irrelevant because they were trespassing on her private property.
That's right.
And without identifying themselves at all, which I don't even necessarily care about that because I don't care what their identity is. That's something I want to be clear about that. It's certainly bad from a law standpoint that they didn't identify themselves. Like I said, he's going down.
Yeah.
But to me, that doesn't matter because I don't care if it was the frickin' president of the United States.
Right.
They were trespassing on her private property.
Right.
She had done nothing wrong.
Right.
I was going to say illegal, but I don't care about law. She had done nothing wrong. She had done nothing morally or ethically wrong.
Right.
I don't care what firearms she did or didn't have. I don't care what she was doing. I don't care that she was playing video games with her nephew. She could have been performing a seance for all I care.
Right.
The point being is that she was totally in the right. They were in the wrong. They were trespassers. If she had not been struck and killed, it would have been completely in her right to go grab her gun and blow their brains out.
Right.
Totally within her right to do
absolutely.
that. It kind of makes you... I wanted to cover this because I had followed it and read a lot about it. And I know a lot of people had. But... I had said several weeks ago now at this point, probably a couple of months ago now at this point, that I was going to ease back on these types of shows, like on the outrage and that sort of thing. Partly because I just want a happier, more positive program. Let's be honest with you, it's for my own blood pressure.
Oh yeah.
But I got to I'll tell you the other reason why this gets really stale. It's because it seems like we could do this every week.
Yeah. It wasn't that long ago that we had one of these before. Remember that? It was just a couple months back. There was another one.
Well, I mean, it was 2 episodes ago. We talked about Amber Geiger and Botham Jean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and by the way, I never did an update about Botham Jean's neighbor having been murdered.
Yeah, I know.
We're not
don't
doing
even
that. That's not what today's about. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
Just the point being is that we could have done that instead of the China episode, and then we could have done this episode today.
Right, we could just do this as this is our shtick only.
Yeah, we would be cruising towards a month of nothing but episodes about shady crap that the authorities have been up to.
Yeah.
By shady crap, of course, I mean murder.
Yeah, murder.
That's what I really
murdering
mean.
people.
They've been up to some shady murder. Mm-hmm. I got to tell you guys, it gets old.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that this instance is any less important. It just gets old.
And we shouldn't tolerate living in a society where this happens. People should not tolerate this, but people just bow their heads down. They keep minding their own business. It's not going to happen to me. It's not going to happen to my family. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm staying quiet. You know what? So is she. So is she.
Why did you do that whole spiel and have the camera on me instead of you?
I don't know.
You were the one talking.
Just because I want the world
preach,
to see,
Brother Osborne.
I want the world to see your reaction, sir.
My reaction is I'm tired.
Yeah.
That's what my reaction is. Let's take our last commercial break.
You got it.
Have you ever been talking politics with a friend and told, if you don't like it here, you should just move to Somalia?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, from the sandy beaches of Mogadishu, Sherry and I bring you postcards from Somalia. For the newer products of Little L Productions, where we take on all of the fallacies of the people who say, if you don't like it, you can just get out. Your ad could be playing right now, reaching thousands of potential customers. Sadly, it's not, but it could be. Find out how to be an advertised sponsor for The Gold Standard with Alan Mosley. Email us at tgsalanmosley@gmail.com. So Blake was just saying, by the way, when we were in the last break, Blake was saying we got to figure out a way to end this on a happy note.
We got to end on a happy note.
Yikes.
Yeah. show that Pooh Bear image again.
No, I already closed everything. Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I don't know.
You don't know? Well, listen, I was telling you, man, we just run that ad right there. I mean, how long have we been running that ad? And, we're looking for help. Somebody help with some, some sponsorship of the show.
We do.
Yeah. And we run that ad constantly. Y'all always hear it. I know some of you people out there have businesses,
Mm-hmm.
It's, they've got businesses. Help support the show. Give us your commercial. Let us run it during our program. And, hey, believe me, we do reach quite a few folks out there,
I mean, we could probably be convinced to make you a commercial.
We could, yeah. We've got a lot of toys around here. We think we know
this.
what we're doing.
This is Osborne Studio and Sound in beautiful
is.
Columbia,
It is.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Because we do stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it says on his business card.
Yeah,
we
do stuff.
Yeah.
All sorts of stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for listening to another episode of The Gold Standard. We're a proud product of Little L Productions, along with such other fine programming as Godarchy with Mike Meharry. There's the Sherry Voluntary Show. There's Postcards from Somalia, and there's Sports Ball with Mike and Alan.
Yep.
You can follow us on the web at our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/TGSAlanMosley. Twitter is @AlanMMosley. And you can go to our website, which is thegoldstandardpodcast.com.
That's right.
Also, consider supporting the show by becoming a member of our Patreon.
That'd be great.
Which is patreon.com/TGSAlanMosley.
That's right.
Is that everything?
That's everything.
Is that everybody?
I think we're good. Yeah.
We've talked about everything and everybody.
Yes, we have.
And we managed to do that like under 45 minutes. Pretty good.
Not bad.
That's not bad.
Pretty good clip today.
Thank you so much, and we will see you next week.